Or how about Penta and Rey Fenix? That's the latest as of this week, that the Lucha Brothers are expected to be leaving AEW this fall to make their way to WWE. Brian Alvarez reported that the internal belief within AEW is that they would be leaving for WWE when their contracts expire. Wrestle purists said the same thing, and that a Trios championship match set for All In was to have included them and has since been changed. They have not been on AEW television of late. They currently have no match on the Wembley card. Fightful says that those close to the brothers claim that they have already engaged in talks with WWE, which is interesting. If they are still technically under contract, how they would be able to even have even informal talks with WWE, but apparently it's happening. Dave Meltzer says the belief is that Penta has really pushed for a main roster spot because there's no way they could turn down what they're making in AEW for NXT level money. Just because he pushed for it doesn't mean he's going to get it, even though they're both more than ready for a main roster run. They do run a lot of, I can't say everybody, because there are some people who will skip over NXT. But the vast majority of the people they bring in, no matter how many years of experience they have, they do run them through NXT first to get acclimated, just, to how they do television. They did the same thing with Dragon Lee. And by the way, what the hell ever happened to Dragon Lee? Where the hell's he been? He's pulled a disappearing act. But to add more fuel to the fire, Fenix just pulled out of an independent date for September 27th due to what they claim were personal circumstances. Fenix and Penta, they've already filed trademark applications for a whole bunch of different names and terms. Cero Miedo, Zero Miedo, Animo, or Animo, I guess you say, Fuego, King Fuego, Rey Fuego, which might give us a hint of what their future names are going to be. I said when the news first broke a couple of months ago that Penta could become a free agent soon. Remember that news came out first. I said at the time I didn't know what his main priority was, if it was to still be able to work Mexico and still do independent shows, or if he was looking to get a run in WWE, get in while the going's good and just make the most money he possibly could. At a time when everybody knows WWE business is booming. I didn't know Phoenix's contract status. I didn't know his contract was also coming due soon, although that doesn't necessarily mean his deal is expiring at the same time as his brother. Plus, keep in mind, Fenix missed considerable time due to injury. Tony Khan could always tack that time onto his deal if he wanted to. But if they go to WWE, they're not going to have the freedom to book themselves anywhere that they want to. Although WWE under Nick Khan has been more open to talent working select shows outside of their bubble. Yeah, they've been doing that with Josh Barnett's Bloodsport shows. They sent AJ Styles to go work Marufuji at a Pro Wrestling Noah show. They let Io Sky work a Marigold show for Rossi Ogawa. NXT has a working relationship with TNA. One of the biggest names on NXT television right now is a TNA star. And Penta is a former world champion in TNA. So times are changing. Even if they sign with WWE, that doesn't necessarily mean they won't get to work any outside shows at all. But they would, for the most part, have to be exclusive to WWE. Fenix and Penta, they have been a part of that AEW roster from day one. Okay, going all the way back to the first Double or Nothing. They've held the AEW tag team titles and the trios titles with Pac. Fenix, right? He's a former international champion. Fenix has also been hurting of late, even after he came back from injury. He's beat up. He's also younger than Penta is, but he's probably got more miles on his body than Penta does. It's kind of just the nature of the style that he works. Eventually it catches up to you. They may be looking at this as their last chance. 5 years in one place is a long time. And Penta is going to be 40 years old next year. Fenix is banged up. If ever there was a time for them to make the jump, it feels like this would be it. I can't blame Tony Khan for not doing much lately with Fenix because he's been out hurt. But, Penta, though, he should absolutely be doing more with him. And when he's on TV, he should not just be wrestling random matches. Like, give him something to do. Give him an actual story. The last singles match that he had was 2 months ago on Rampage against The Butcher. Like, what? What are we doing here? He's still over. He's still popular. Fenix is out. You don't know when you're going to get him back. give Penta something to do. He was in a qualifying match for the ladder match of Forbidden Door and he lost. He should have been involved in something. It could be as simple as that. You know, they just want to be doing more. Maybe Penta is unhappy. But if they leave, it's a big loss for AEW. Not because they've got, they've got so much TV time invested in the Lucha Bros this year, but because they're a pair of AEW originals. And they're popular. The money that WWE can make just off of Penta merchandise alone and selling those gloves. Between that and their desire to expand into Mexico, you saw it with their tour last month right after they signed Stephanie Vaquer. She was the biggest female star in that entire country, and she didn't even have time to drop her titles before WWE had her on the show wrestling Isla Dawn. You don't think WWE isn't planning to do a major show in Mexico at some point, maybe even a PLE? They have good reason to want these names on their roster. It makes all the sense in the world for them. If I'm Tony Khan and I haven't already done so, I'm sitting down with both these guys and having a heart-to-heart to see what is it going to take to keep them. Because as originals go, they may not be Cody Rhodes, right? They may not be EVPs, but it would be a pretty damn big loss if they make that jump to the other side.